Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This is going to be game 3 between Tossim and Meyara. This is going to be on Death Valley, kind of a weird one. Meyara starting in the bottom right hand corner as the black Zerg. Up left hand corner we got Tossim starting as the yellow Protoss. Just so you're aware of how this map is constructed, you have two assimilators that are depleted at various locations on the map, specifically outside what is a potential natural expansion. You've got some mineral fields that are blockading another natural expansion potentially for something like a third, but just to explain, and then you have some other minerals that are just kind of out and about in the map, and a 3000 gas pocket in the upper right hand corner. This is not a, and this is also only 1200 instead of the usual 1500, so expanding towards the mineral fields tends to be a little bit more beneficial as far as raw mineral numbers. But just to explain what's going on with the assimilators, when you have two assimilators stacked like this that are depleted and they're taken out, when you take out one, only small units are able to get through. And it's kind of odd that Zealots are considered small units, but basically Zealot, Zerglings, Marines, Medics, Firebats are able to get through. Vultures, I believe, are not able to. Siege Tanks, Dragoons cannot. I don't think Hydralisks can either, but I'll have to double check that. If both assimilators are down, only Ghosts can fit through, which is kind of a weird thing with it. Brood War collision detection is really bizarre. But if both, basically if both assimilators go down, you are more or less boxed into, in this matchup, you're certainly boxed in from that location. So basically what you can do is you can self-isolate and take down both assimilators, sacrificing this base, which is a little, again, has a little bit less minerals, and then expand away in order to have a little bit more of a protective cusp. Or, you can oftentimes isolate these bases away from your opponent by walking up and going ahead and taking down the assimilators. The other thing is, if you are opting to do that, it takes a little bit longer to get through the mineral fields here at the rear. And this also, if you do a little bit of cheese, you can open up the mineral fields back there and create some chaos. This has been kind of an interesting map for various kinds of cheeses and other tactical plays. Looks like we do have, and I believe this is Overpool again. Yeah, Overpool drone's gonna go ahead and sneak through to do some scouting. Or is it just gonna be a base? Yeah, just slipping through to drop a base. So this could be potentially vulnerable if Tossim wanted to sneak some units across his side of the map. In the meantime, it does look like he went for a Forge first opening, so Meyara actually gonna get 3 bases probably fairly easily. So once the spawning pool finish, just build, doesn't need 6 Zerglings, just build the 4, I would argue. In the midst of this will force out a cannon, however. Again, Nexus before cannon in the midst of this, but again, still, I think a problem last match was not protecting that cannon sufficiently against the potential 6 Zerglings. Ooh, and Probe taking a good amount of damage. Is it gonna get wiped out? Oh man, it's really important not to have that happen on maps like this. So now, absolutely no vision. The Zerglings are gonna take to that assimilator immediately, actually. And is this gonna be a 2-base play now? Is my next question. So Meyara gonna go ahead and capitalize on this. Does he go for the second assimilator, or is he just gonna leave it Zergling open? He's gonna go for the second assimilator and isolate himself in. So let's see if he go, and he's already teched a lair, so he's going to go, I like this play. Kind of clever build on this. So this is going to be 2-hatch Mutalisk, and then the counterattack possibility is going to be severely negated if Meyara doesn't open up that bottom left, is what it comes down to. So essentially you're gonna have Mutalisks, and then usually what oftentimes Protoss will do these days is send Zealots across the map to try to interrupt some of these Mutalisk timings. Instead, we're having straight tech to layer, Mutalisks out in the field, and then just a presumption that, okay, you can't get to me by ground. At best, you can send Corsair, at which point I can scourge you and won't be scourge you. That sounds like such an aggressive thing to do. I'm gonna scourge you. But that is in effect what is going to be the case here, and I don't know that Tossim has a plan for this. He's got the 2 cannons on the front. He's already building Zealots. Hasn't really gone forward to examine the situation. He lost that probe early, so there's very little scouting. He's potentially even going to be late on the... He's going to be... we'll see what his timing on the Stargate is. Might want to get that Stargate out sooner rather than later. The Zergling's also going to go underneath the back end. What they can do is they can kind of just patrol around this mineral pile along the rear and also see if there's anything that was slipping through the weeds here. But Meyara in a good position to execute this. This probe going to march forward. At this point, the probe can't even get forward and see anything beyond the depleted geyser. It can get a little bit of scouting information in this range of the probe vision, but that's basically going to be it. We do have the Stargate being built, and here's the thing is I don't know that without that probe inside the base, let's see if Tossim has the wherewithal. So maybe sees the depleted geysers at this stage. Does he have the wherewithal though at this stage to drop preventative cannons in his main? Because he's going to need it to defend against just having the single Corsair. You really need defensive cannons in your back mineral lines to be able to fight over. Otherwise, you just end up getting absolutely lambasted. Third hatchery dropped in the main. We've got 4 Mutalisks being built, 5 Mutalisks queued up. The 5th one a little bit delayed, which is pretty typical for a build like this. So Tossim right now has double the workers, is even at the 2 bases, but keep in mind that could very, very rapidly change. And I still don't see an additional cannon. We're seeing a Gateway Flood, +1 weapons. First Corsair is going to be out, but that could easily be dispatched. Again, looking at the problem, a similar problem to last match, except this time Meyara going to capitalize on it, where there's not a lot of protection. We got 2 cannons right here for the Corsairs to hang out on defensively, and all of this is exposed. All of this is exposed from this stage. Fortunately, if Meyara opts to flat out engage over the cannon line at the natural expansion, that's the worst spot to engage. Okay, now moving up into the natural, noticing, okay, yeah, this is just free reign, and this is free reign as well. Yeah, now he can just start rallying units across. It looks like there were some units that were able to open up here bottom left. This might pose a problem, so the Zealots still might be able to force some of these units back, but there's still a lot of damage and a lot of havoc to be wrought. We have 2 sunken colonies getting dropped, a couple Mutalisks there to help prevent it bottom left. Corsair moving up, it's been wiped out. Second Corsair is going to be spawning into fire. It's lucky that it didn't get wiped out right there, trying to do damage what damage it can. It looks like that pylon was being focused on. The Scourge making the way across to go ahead and dispatch that Corsair. The Corsair is wiped out. A little bit of anti-air, at least in the form of Dragoon. Now the cannon's being built, but too late. Zealots taking damage as they're making their way across, and that'll be GG from Tossim. Well played. Good strategy there from Meyara, recognizing the map. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.